going on, everybody? Of course, my name is Blitzwinger, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to, of course, another LEGO Marvel Superheroes Age of Ultron set review. Today we're going to be taking a look at set number 76031, and of course, in my opinion, it is the coolest set of the bunch. Now, don't get me wrong, of course, there are sets that are bigger, more impressive, and more unique looking. However, I mean, this has the Hulkbuster and the Hulk figure, so as a result of that, by default, in my mind, it's the coolest of the bunch. So, speaking of which, of course, not only do we get the Hulkbuster armor, of course, and the Hulk itself, but we also do receive an Ultron Prime figure, which looks exceptionally cool, Scarlet Witch, and then, of course, the Iron Man Mark 43, which will reside within the Hulkbuster armor. Now, on the back of the packaging, we can actually see a really lovely shot of the Hulkbuster armor with Iron Man Mark 43 within it. You can also see him holding the Ultron Prime. Then, of course, Scarlet Witch is down below. We have Hulk right here. There's a little bit of the firing action that the Hulkbuster armor has offered, and in additionally to that, we have at the very tippity top right here the super jumper action. And interestingly enough, as you can see, Iron Man is attacking Scarlet Witch. Maybe that's a bit of a spoiler for the movie, who knows. And then of course, as you can see, how to load up Iron Man into the Hulkbuster suit. So with all that being said, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It is indeed time to go on ahead and assemble this set, and then of course we will take a look at all the lovely goodies inside. So let us begin. So here we are, guys, with the full set fully assembled, and this was a ton of fun to put together. So first and foremost, why don't we go ahead and take a look at the set in two parts, because that's really how it's meant to be, or at least that's how the actual set comes along. So obviously, as you can see, part number one features this little stationary trap type machine, which the way that you would know about that is by looking at the comic book, which is pretty cool indeed. And of course, the comic shows you that the Hulk isn't trapped and he's being captured by Scarlet Witch. She's hovering over him with her sensor abilities, and she's the one that's powering up this particular machine. As you can see, it's actually done by Stark Industries, which is kind of interesting. And that is exactly what is preventing the Hulk from actually escaping and, I guess, fighting alongside, of course, the awesome Avengers. Now, additionally to that, of course, you are given the little new super jumper. And what you're meant to do is, of course, put the character onto it like so. But I would honestly, personally recommend to you guys to actually use the little extra studs that come along with the figure and then launch it that way. I just think it works a little bit better, and more importantly, you're taking less risk of actually breaking the legs on your figure. So the idea behind it is that basically you're supposed to launch Iron Man in such a way that will send Scarlet Witch tumbling downward. So let's see if we can pull this off. Okay, that was not bad. That was not too bad. That was not too bad of an effort. We get an A for effort for sure. Let's try again. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, that was terrible. That's terrible. Third time's the charm, guys. Can it be third time the charm? Oh, come on, Iron Man, you jumped over her. What is going on, dude? Okay, here we go. Third time's the charm. Oh, come on! Scarlet Witch is just not giving up. She's definitely a tough client. Here we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ay, caramba. Okay, one more try. Ha-la-la! Okay. So, Scarlet Witch falls down, and then, of course, the Hulk is then able to go ahead and smash his way through this whole thing. If he wants, he could even smash it a little bit further, of course, knocking down everything, which is exactly probably how he would go about it. But it is cool how it folds out like this. It has this really unique looking shape. Of course, this little lever comes up and down, and you can unmount, actually, Scarlet Witch off of it as well, which is pretty cool indeed. Nonetheless, let's go on ahead and move onwards and forwards. Alrighty guys, so next up, of course, as you can see, we've got the Hulkbuster Suit, which is probably the main appeal of this particular set. And of course, as you can see, it is indeed brick built. Well, it's kind of a mix between like brick, Technic pieces, and even some parts that kind of to me remind the Bionicles, if you remember that line, which I know that it just recently returned. I haven't really had my hands on any of those, but I kind of definitely want to check out some of them. Nonetheless, of course, as you can see, I have the Hulkbuster holding Ultron here, and the reason for that is just so that you could see that you can pull that off, so that's pretty cool indeed, because of course what you're given is fully articulated fingers, which is just awesome. You get 3 fingers and then the thumb here, which work exceptionally well in terms of getting poses such as punches, or maybe even holding things or reaching for something, which is pretty cool as well. Now, I have to be honest with you guys, there are elements about this that I don't like. I don't know why it doesn't feel very proportional. It feels like it's a little bit of a weird scale, like as if the legs need to be longer, or just it just feels to me like something is missing, something is off with this design. There are some elements that I don't like on the back either. For example, I don't like this whole exposed Lego studs, like the back of that, and these little pins here. Again, it's a tiny little thing, but I just wish that they would be a little bit smoother and kind of more connected, because again, Tony Stark designs things to look cool, and even when they're bulky, they're still cool and slick. This looks just bulky and cumbersome. It doesn't look very slick in my opinion. Now, that being said, the back does have some cool details, like these little folding little what would you call them, I guess, flaps, or I guess energy boost or something. So obviously this is the kind of thing that you would use to push yourself and exert more energy, which is really neat. You can also see the back of the rods here that open up the helmet all the way to the back, so you could bring that backwards like so. Or the way that I like to do it is, if I take the helmet off, I like to actually twist it this way so that it folds even further like so. So that's a pretty cool little feature that you can definitely take advantage of. And again, that's already up to you in terms of how you prefer to have your figure displayed versus someone else. It's one of those things that's truly a personal preference type of thing, and the way that I display my figures most likely are going to end up being very different to yours. Now, speaking of displaying this thing, it actually does have some really lovely articulation points, and that is something that I definitely have to kind of give my credit where credit is due, so to speak. And you see it, like, this is what I mean. I would love if the helmet, like the head, was up here instead of being all the way down here where it almost looks like a turtle. I kind of wish that it was just a little bit higher like so. I mean, you can definitely keep it there, but then you're going to be always exposing Iron Man within it, which we will take a look at in just a moment. Nonetheless, back to the articulation. As you can see, we have a really lovely ball joint right up at the top here with a lot of range. The elbow is also on a ball joint, which is fantastic. As I mentioned before, the fingers are articulated. There is no waist joint, so that's a bit unfortunate. However, the legs are actually pretty nicely articulated to get some dynamic poses out of them. So you'll notice once again a ball joint down here, and this thing is not necessarily on a ball joint because the little pin right here gets in the way. However, it is still a decent amount of range. Like, you're not going to get the foot all the way up here, as you can see, but you can still get a decent amount of articulation out of it. And if you do want to get it out there, what you can do is you could shift this outwards, which I'm guessing maybe that's why the pins are there, and then you could get a little bit more dynamic poses. And of course, if you keep it back like this, you can't really see it, right? And you could have the character forcing or facing this way, so then it doesn't look that weird. Now, of course, if you look at it here, now it does look quite odd. So again, it's just one of those elements that you could kind of play around with. It's almost like a mobile articulation that is on a track, which is pretty neat. Now, they do have that weird kind of like chicken leg thing going on, which I don't particularly care for because it usually doesn't it means that this joint is kind of usually useless. However, in this design, because the leg is able to go up quite a bit, it actually works quite well, so you can still get a few like running poses of the Hulkbuster charging forward, which is really cool. Additionally to that, of course, you might have noticed that there's a little bit of an asymmetrical design. This arm looks a little bit plain and simple, whereas this one has some launchers on it, which is pretty sweet. They are the little tap launchers, which I love. I think these are the superior method to like the flick ones. I just really like these ones. Of course, be careful, don't shoot them at others, but you get a spare one of these little bullets, so that's really nice indeed. Oh, sorry, two of these, I forgot to say. Two of those, so that's really cool. And as you can see, you could fire them off single. So I'm not going to fire them off because if they fly around the desk, I'm never going to find them. Oh, goodness gracious. Thank God that that one flew into the background. Oh, no! Oh, no! No. Okay, well, that's what I was saying. Good thing that there's extras. So yeah, or of course, if you want, you could actually fire them both off at the same time. So just like that, you just tap both of the buttons at the same time, which is cool. And again, you have always resupplies. And then of course, last but certainly not least, probably the coolest feature about this particular set is the fact that you can store Iron Man within it, which is just super cool. So all you have to do is open up the helmet, then this little chest part comes down, it clips onto these two little studs. That's really what holds it together. And then there's a little pinning mechanism right at the bottom here. And then all you do is you take your Iron Man Mark 43, you fly him into position, and you just go ahead and lock that back down. And as you can see, that looks pretty awesome, pretty cool. And of course, you could even open up the little faceplate on Tony, and you could have him looking through the armor, which is just neat. Again, just a really cool pose. You could have him doing the pose of like, bring it on, Hulky, bring it on, or whoever he's talking to. And of course, I broke off the faceplate because I am a buffoon. I apologize about it. But we can lock that back up, slide the helmet back over, and as you can see, he is back in business and ready to rock and ready to roll. Alrighty guys, so now of course, let's head off to the minifigures. Even though we've taken a look at most of them, at least a little bit, let's take a look at them in a little bit more detail. As you can see, the Hulk figure is quite different to the previous Hulk figures that we've gotten. He's a big figure still, but the different thing is of course the fact that he's got a different skin tone, a different hairpiece, a little bit of a different expression from what I could tell. And then also of course those pants are substantially different. In fact, they even have the Avengers logo on them, which is pretty cool. Some really cool like line work on them, which is also really neat. On the back, there is no details in that regard, but other than that, the Hulk figure is fantastic. I really like the skin tone that they chose for this guy. It fits very well with that kind of like off, almost military kind of green that they have for the Hulk in the movie, so that works exceptionally well. Now, then we move on, of course, as you can see right here, we've got Iron Man, who looks very cool and stylish. A lot of fantastic print work right there on the chest. Just looks absolutely fantastic. Just a really great minifigure indeed. Great work on the helmet. Of course, that's the Mark 43 that we are looking at. Right next to him is the ultra detailed Ultron, which looks exceptional. How many wires? Like, look at that amazing work that they have right there. Ultron does also have this really cool underpiece, as you can see. It's almost like that exterior kind of jawline to create that more menacing look. I kind of wish that it was just one whole head, or maybe a helmet a la Iron Man here. I kind of wish that it would just be like an actual helmet coming on to him, and then have the actual expression on him as well, instead of just printed on the little Lego head. Then again, that's just my personal preference. Maybe you guys disagree on that. Now, then we have, of course, Scarlet Witch, who looks pretty cool. A little bit more simple attire, obviously, compared to the two robotic man next to her, because obviously she's what do they call them? A gifted, I think, because they're not allowed to call them mutants. Nonetheless, when we flip the, of course, script, so to speak, onto the back, we can see some really exceptional print work on the back as well, which is just lovely. Now, if I remove the hairpiece for, of course, Scarlet Witch, you'll notice that she actually has a regular face as well, so that's an inverse to her angry face when she's using her power. And the same goes for Tony. He's got an upset face right there, and then, of course, the one that you saw before. And as I showed before, Tony does have a flip-up faceplate, which is pretty cool indeed. So there you guys have it. That is the minifigures in this set. So there you guys have it. That is the Hulkbuster Smash set review from LEGO Marvel Superheroes. And honestly, just like most people that are going into this particular purchase, you guys are probably going to purchase this set for the awesome looking Hulkbuster. But I have to say, I am very pleasantly surprised by the rest of this lineup. I will say that the Hulkbuster is a ton of fun to build. It still has some flaws. Personally, for me, I kind of wish that it would be a little bit more covered up, a little bit more armored up and sleek. Not this, like this feels almost like an unrefined version of the Hulkbuster. It's almost like if there was a prototype version of the Hulkbuster before Iron Man uses it, this is what it would be. Nonetheless, then again, that's just my opinion. I really like this little chamber thing right back here. Really cool little thingamajig there. I love the Scarlet Witch minifigure. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's also really nice to just get a Scarlet Witch figure. That's something that I never thought would happen, so that's fantastic. A really great addition to the big figure army, in my opinion, in the form of the Hulk. Another excellent, I should say, Iron Man minifig, and a pretty cool and menacing Ultron. So there you guys have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button, share the video with your family and friends, favorite the videos as well, and of course, stay tuned for plenty more LEGO Marvel Superheroes Age of Ultron set reviews. Peace out, guys. See you later, alligators.